RG3's alma mater is dedicating a bronze statue. Yes, I said it, a statue of him outside of their new stadium in Waco, Texas. Baylor University will install a 9.5-foot statue of the Redskins quarterback during the week of their first game against SMU. Griffin is the only player in Baylor history to win the Heisman Trophy, but we're actually putting RG3 on the hook. Does he really deserve a statue, Skip Bayless?
No, I want to hear Mr. Smith.
He said he wants you to do it. You guys duke it out. Duke it out.
What you wanted to do this topic.
Okay, well, I'll do it. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. No. No, he doesn't. I mean, look.
He doesn't?
Listen, I'm not going to say.
This is so obvious.
I am not in any way attacking RG3. Over 11,000 career passing yards, 110 touchdowns, the only Heisman Trophy winner in school history. I'm just one who has opposition to statues. I don't think that players deserve that. I think your jersey hanging from the rafters, the number never to be worn again. I understand all of that. But the statue stuff is just going a little bit too far to me. I don't like stuff like that. Never have. The only statue that I ever fought for was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And the only reason I did that was because if the Staples Center could sit there and put up a statue of Magic Johnson and Oscar De La Hoya, how do you not have one for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? That was the only argument. And Jerry West, you know, they had a Jerry West. And I said, how do you not have one for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Because Jerry West may have been the greatest Laker in a lot of people's eyes, and he may be the NBA silhouette, but I think he lost about 8 NBA finals before he finally won one. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a 6-time champion, the greatest, most unstoppable move in NBA history, and he's the all-time leading scorer, so he deserved a statue if the others had one. But I've always been strongly opposed to anybody.
Oh, so you're just generally opposed to statues?
I'm just generally opposed to it. I don't like people being deified like that.
Okay.
And that's my opposition.
I have... Not only do I have no problem with this statue, I applaud Baylor University for reaching this point in their history that they have a Heisman Trophy winner who actually does deserve a statue. And again, we know that RG3 has had his issues with Mike Shanahan in the past, but
I ain't got nothing to do with Baylor.
But what I'm saying is I think you can trust Robert Griffin III that is a role model, and I hate for any athlete to be a role model, but that he'll live up to being a statue.
I believe that.
You know, like he won't embarrass Baylor University off the field.
I believe that.
Okay, I do too. You realize they're about to open a $260 million new stadium, McLean Stadium.
Yep.
Have you been to Baylor before?
Never.
Okay. I've been there many, many times in my days in Dallas, Texas. I have been to old Floyd Casey Stadium, which always felt to me like a glorified high school stadium. And you realize that little Baylor University, a Baptist-affiliated school on the Brazos River, just off I-35 in Waco, Texas, for years the smallest school in the Big 8 or Big 12 or whichever way, Southwest Conference, whichever way it was affiliated at that point. Now TCU is a little bit smaller. But again, a private school. Its only claim to fame nationally in the past was Mike Singletary. Remember, he graduated in 1980 from Baylor University. And all of a sudden, you have a Heisman Trophy winner in Robert Griffin III, and your program under Art Briles, and with Bryce Petty at quarterback as a Heisman contender this year, is on the rise. You should put a statue of RG3 in the foyer of your new stadium, $250 million, because you should remind everyone that this little school has risen to this pinnacle that we had a Heisman Trophy winner. Baylor had a Heisman Trophy winner. It's a beautiful thing, and they need to promote themselves, and they need to remind their constituency as they enter every Saturday afternoon to their home games, we had this guy here. And the recruits will see the statue and say, I want to be where RG3 tread on this. It's a different turf.
I know we debate about this, Skip, and this is one of those situations where I'm in no position to debate everything that you just said. I truly understand where you're coming from, but I think there's a difference between a number being retired, banner hanging in the rafters or the stadium or whatever the case may be, a guy being celebrated by the school, and having a statue. Because when you have a statue, I mean, it may not be forever because a statue can always be knocked down or removed, as we saw with the great Joe Paterno.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, you have to understand that when you are erecting a statue of somebody, what it connotates, it's beyond reproach. It's the closest thing to forever you can provide. And it's not just because of what they've done for you. It's because of who you believe them not only to be, but will always be. And when you do something like that, there is just a level of discomfort that comes over. I'm going to sit there, and obviously this has nothing to do with RG3. He deserves the accolades. We know what he did at Baylor, and he has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. But you can't get closer to perfection and having a pristine image than the one that Joe Paterno had. And look at what that regressed into. You know, because, again, certain things, when you got a statue, it ain't just about what you accomplished. It's about who you are and who you're going to be.
You agree with me? You didn't think that Robert would ever embarrass the statue.
I totally agree.
Right?
I totally agree with. I don't believe it for one second. I don't believe he would ever embarrass it. But I'm just saying, when we put that, when we put that kind of connotation and we attach it to a human being, that's a lot, man.
Okay.
And I just think that there are times in life when we should tread lightly with the statue thing. That's why, even from a biblical perspective, it talks about, no, you don't deify human beings. It's a very dangerous thing to do.
I appreciate and I respect, and I'm actually surprised you made that point. I like that point, and I agree in the big picture with what you're saying. But in the smaller Baylor University picture, I think it belongs. I think it's okay, and I don't think they mean to deify him on the broadest national level. It's what he meant to that fairly small school in Waco, Texas.
I understand,
and that's what you want to preserve.
But when you have the statue, everything that he does
from that point on,
it's going to be. They have a statue of him at Baylor.
Sure.
They have a statue of him at Baylor. You know, if without that, he's just doing what he does.
Yeah.
You know,
but you know what?
And you're recognized as a great player, and there aren't other obligations placed on your shoulders by those outside of yourself.
Okay.
And that's where I get concerned about the statue part.
Okay, but as a rookie, he did validate his Heisman Trophy by winning Rookie of the Year. You can't take that away.
I'm not trying to take anything football related. I'm saying that the statue adds things beyond football on his shoulders into perpetuity, and forever. In other words, everything you do from this day forward, there's a level of expectations that he didn't ask for that are now placed on his shoulders because of a statue that they put at the school. Without the statue, you were a great football player. Look, O.J. Simpson, in a lot of people's eyes, O.J. Simpson in a lot of people's eyes is a double murderer. Okay? And you won the Heisman, and you had a great football career. You had the Hertz commercials and all of that other stuff. But regardless of his greatness at USC, we can disassociate ourselves with you because the recognition that you have and you have been celebrated for is strictly about football. If you had a statue, then it speaks to more than just football, and that statue would have had to have been removed.
Would have been gone.
And see, there's a difference with the statue, and we have to pay it. I don't believe that statues should be put out there for any human being, personally, until they're dead.
Well,
and even then,
it won't make it any easier this football season on Robert to bounce back from the debacle that was last year.
Did he convince you? I think he might have moved you to the...
No, I like it for Baylor. But I agree with that big picture premise.
And I agree with his point. I agree with his point about Baylor and football. It's just that it was a bigger issue for me.
All right, let's meet in Vegas and let's have something to eat. Let's talk about what's going to happen with our future.